Hey folks, Michael here, and in this video, I'm going to go through some of the biggest video game titles launching in March. So it's going to be a very interesting month because most of these games are remasters, remakes, and sequels. There aren't a whole lot of new IPs, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Most of these releases are meant to bring classic franchises to both new and older audiences. And it just so happens that the first game on this list is a remake of an NES game, so let's get right to it. The first Ufouria game was released on the NES back in 1991. It had an open world exploration style similar to Metroid. Ufouria the Saga 2 is technically more of a remake than a sequel. The game retains the original characters and Metroidvania gameplay, but this time the stages are randomized every time you enter. As you play the game, the main character finds his 3 friends, and they all become playable. Each friend has a unique ability that allows you to reach areas that were previously inaccessible. The game will be released on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Steam on the 1st of March. The Thaumaturge is an isometric RPG set in early 20th century Warsaw. In this world, there are mythic beings called Thaumaturges that only a Thaumaturge can see. A Thaumaturge can tame these creatures and use them to their advantage. The game has been described as a cross between Disco Elysium and Persona. It features turn-based combat, character development, and investigation mechanics. The Thaumaturge launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows on March 4th. Red Barrels is a Canadian developer composed of former Ubisoft employees who worked on Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, and Assassin's Creed. Their debut game, Outlast, was a survival horror game and was successful enough to spawn a sequel. This new entry is a prequel to the first game and is set during the Cold War. The biggest change with Trials is that it introduces co-op mode with up to 4 players. Outlast Trials is currently in early access and gets a full release on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows on March 5th. Expeditions, a MudRunner game, is an all-terrain vehicle simulation game and a spin-off of the MudRunner series. The big difference between this and the previous games is that there's more emphasis on smaller vehicles and exploring the wild. You're also part of a scientific research team as opposed to a trucking company. You have a variety of tools and technology at your disposal, like a winch, metal detector, echo sounder, drone, and anchor. There's also full vehicle customization, where you can modify specific components to enhance your performance. Expeditions, a MudRunner game, launches on all platforms on March 5th. Classified France 44 is a turn-based tactical espionage and combat game. It's pretty much the World War II version of XCOM. One unique feature is the morale system. Every shot you take suppresses the enemy's morale. If you mentally break them, the enemy will miss their turn. There's also an emphasis on stealth. You can use distractions and pick off the enemy one by one using silent takedowns. Fans of XCOM should check out Classified France 44 when it launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on March 5th. It seems like there's a simulator game for literally everything, and Hairdresser Simulator is the latest idea. You can choose from 10 different hairdressing tools and master your skills in 10 different hairdressing techniques. There's also 9 different salon locations that you can purchase and renovate. Hairdresser Simulator will launch on Steam on March 6th, followed by PlayStation and Xbox release in a few months. REVEIL is a narrative first-person psycho thriller game made by German developers Pixel Split. There's an emphasis on story, puzzles, and exploration. The game's setting is heavily inspired by the circus era of the 1960s. You play as the role of Walter Thompson, a former stage builder in search of his wife and daughter. The game contains 5 playable acts where the line between reality and illusion become blurred. REVEIL launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on March 6th. As Dusk Falls is an adventure game where every choice matters, similar to the Walking Dead video game. Set in 1998, the story is about a robbery gone wrong in a small town in Arizona. The game was designed by Caroline Markal, who also worked on Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. The unique thing about As Dusk Falls is the approach to co-op mode with up to 8 players. The way it works is that whenever a decision needs to be made, all players will need to cast a vote. Whichever choice gets the most votes will change the direction of the story. The game premiered on Xbox Game Pass day 1 and will make its PlayStation debut on March 7th. Taxi Life, a driving simulator, is, well, as the name suggests, a taxi simulator. And this one's made by Polish developer Simtorak. The main highlight of the game is the recreation of Barcelona, the 2nd largest city in Spain. Taxi Life features 286 miles of roads that reproduce the city on a 1-to-1 scale. There are over 200 landmarks and points of interest to explore. The game features a realistic traffic AI and a dynamic weather system. Taxi Life, a driving simulator, launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on March 7th. Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG made by Vanillaware, who also developed 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, and Odin Sphere. The game is intended to be a throwback to the 16-bit tactical RPGs of the 90s. There are 2 main parts to the gameplay. The overworld is where the player is free to explore the map and recruit new allies. There are over 60 unique companions that can join your army. The other is the combat system where troops engage on a large-scale battlefield. The combat is in real time, but you can pause the battle to check the situation. Unicorn Overlord launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch on March 8th. Contra Operation Galuga is a reimagining of the original NES and arcade game from the 80s. All of the classic weapons return, but now have stackable upgrades that increase their firepower. There's also a new Overload system where you sacrifice a weapon to unleash a special ability. Story mode takes you through an 8-level campaign with 1 or 2 players. Arcade mode lets you jump straight into the action with up to 4 players. Contra Operation Galuga will be blasting its way on all platforms on March 12th. The original Battlefronts 1 and 2 were considered to be some of the best Star Wars games ever made, and fans have long demanded for a remastered version. Well, to celebrate the 20th anniversary, Aspire Media is bringing them back on modern consoles. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection will support up to 64 players online. All of the classic bonus content is included, as well as brand new maps and playable characters. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection is respawning on all platforms on March 14th. Highwater is a post-apocalyptic adventure game that was originally released on Netflix Games. If you're a Netflix subscriber, you already have access to this game, plus a select list of titles on Android and iOS. Highwater is set in a world where the great climate catastrophe has flooded almost all inhabitable land. It's kind of like the premise to Waterworld. The game has already gained recognition by winning numerous awards. Highwater is set to sale on all platforms on March 14th. Crown Wars: The Black Prince is a turn-based strategy game set during the 100 Years' War. It's basically XCOM set in medieval France. The story takes place following the Battle of Poitiers, where King John II of France was captured by Edward the Black Prince of England. The game allows you to build a squad of 6 soldiers from 6 playable classes. Each class has a set of unique skills and preferred weapons. The game will launch on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on March 7th. The original Outcast was released in 1999 and received numerous awards and nominations, including Adventure Game of the Year by GameSpot and Computer Gaming World. The game was remastered for modern PCs, and then it was given a full remake for consoles. Outcast: A New Beginning is the first sequel after 20 years, and it's being made by the original team of the first game. You play as Cutter Slade, an ex-Navy SEAL who is sent to a parallel universe to save the world of Adelpha. The game features a non-linear open world where you can traverse using a jetpack. Outcast: A New Beginning launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows on March 15th. So Microsoft made headlines this month when they announced that 4 Xbox games were coming to PlayStation 5, one of them being Hi-Fi Rush. The game is developed by Tango Gameworks, the team behind The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. It's a rhythm-based game that puts a unique spin on the genre. Whenever you press the attack button, you have to time it to the beat of the music. Successfully syncing your attacks will grant you damage bonuses. Hi-Fi Rush has already won numerous awards for its sound design and will be coming to PS5 on March 19th. Lightyear Frontier is an open-world farming game with a twist. You pilot a mech to do all your farming chores. Think of it as Titanfall meets Stardew Valley. There's no combat in the game, so instead of arming your mech with deadly weapons, it's actually equipped with farming tools like a spike saw to harvest materials, or a machine gun loaded with planting seeds. And there's more stuff outside of farming. There's an open frontier to explore, and you'll need your mech to venture outside into the wild. Lightyear Frontier will also feature online co-op with up to 3 friends. The game is set to release on Xbox Game Pass Day 1 and Steam on March 19th. The original Alone in the Dark was released on MS-DOS back in 1992, and is considered to be the first 3D survival horror game. Shinji Mikami even admitted that the game's fixed camera angle influenced the design of Resident Evil. If it weren't for Alone in the Dark, Resident Evil 1 would have been a first-person shooter. The series spawned numerous sequels and reboots. This reimagined version features characters from the original trilogy, but with a brand new story. Alone in the Dark features the voices of Jodie Comer from Killing Eve, and David Harbour from Stranger Things. It's also directed by Mikhail Hedberg, who was the writer of Amnesia: The Dark Descent and Soma. Fans of survival horror should check this out when it launches on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox on March 20th. So Sony's been porting several of its biggest franchises to PC over the past few years. Its latest PlayStation offering is Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Both games have won numerous awards and nominations, and PC players can finally play the sequel. This version of the game is the Complete Edition, which includes the Burning Shores expansion. There are several visual upgrades exclusive to PC, including ultra-wide and super ultra-wide support, NVIDIA DLSS3 and AMD FSR, and fully customizable graphics and unlocked frame rates. Horizon Forbidden West should be available for the PC Master Race on March 21st. The first Dragon's Dogma game was an action RPG released on PS3 and Xbox 360, and is considered to be a cult classic. It's directed by Hideaki Itsuno, who is also the guy who directed all the Devil May Cry sequels. The second game is a refinement of the first game. Players take on the role of an Horizon, and they can create companions known as pawns. Pawns act like squad mates, but are only controlled by AI. You can increase your party size up to 4 by recruiting pawns created by other players. It also has an updated vocation system or character classes. Each vocation has strengths and weaknesses, as well as their own skill set. Dragon's Dogma 2 will feature an open world map that's 4 times bigger than the first one. The game is set to be released on PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on March 22nd. Rise of the Ronin is a brand new PS5 title from Team Ninja, and it's directed by Fumihiko Yatsuda, who is also behind Nioh 1 and 2. Rise of the Ronin is set during the Bakumatsu era, when Japan ended its isolationist policy and the Tokugawa shogunate came to an end. Unlike Nioh, the game is dropping the fantasy elements for a more historically grounded setting. Players can traverse on horseback, grappling hooks, or gliders. They can also play the main story missions with up to 3 players in online co-op. Rise of the Ronin will debut exclusively on PlayStation 5 on March 22nd. So the last time Princess Peach had her own game was Super Princess Peach on Nintendo DS. This new action-adventure game has Princess Peach trying to rescue a local theater from the Wicked Grape and the Sour Bunch. Princess Peach can transform into different costumes, and each one gives Peach unique abilities. Princess Peach Showtime is available on Nintendo Switch on March 22nd. The original Legend of Legacy was an RPG released on Nintendo 3DS. The game was notable for having a team of former Square Enix creators, including Masato Kato, who wrote Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. This HD remaster features enhanced graphics for modern consoles. The game is very much an old-school turn-based JRPG. You can pick from one of 7 heroes, each with their own story to tell. JRPG fans who missed the original should be able to pick it up on Switch, PlayStation, and Steam on March 22nd. South Park Snow Day is the long-awaited follow-up to Sick of the Truth and Fractured But Not Whole. In this game, a giant blizzard has engulfed the town, which means school is now cancelled. The biggest change over its 2.5D predecessors is that Snow Day is now a fully 3D game. You play as the new kid, and will join Cartman, Kyle, Stan, and Kenny as you save the town. The other addition is an online co-op mode with up to 3 additional players. South Park Snow Day drops on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Steam on March 26th. Planet Zoo was originally released on Steam back in 2019 and is now finally getting a console release. It's made by Frontier Developments, whose previous works include Planet Coaster and Jurassic World Evolution. Planet Zoo is often praised for its animal AI, which behaves much like the real thing. The game features 4 game modes: Career, Sandbox, Franchise, and Challenge. The game sold over 1 million copies within the first 6 months and has won numerous awards. PlayStation and Xbox owners can finally manage their own zoo when it launches on March 26. The original Falconeer was an award-winning aerial combat game from solo developer Thomas Sala. This new standalone game is set in the same universe, but in the form of an open world builder. Unlike other city builders, Bulwark is designed to be easy to play, with a minimalistic style that can be played with a gamepad. Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows on March 26. Open Roads is a mother and daughter road trip adventure game that started production under Fulbright, the developers of Gone Home and Tacoma. It sets itself apart with its hand-drawn art style and features the voices of Kerry Russell and Caitlin Dever. The game's story takes place in 2003, and it's all about early 2000s nostalgia. Every little detail, including the Nokia-style cell phones to the colored iMacs, will take you back down to memory lane. Open Roads will debut on Xbox Game Pass Day 1, as well as all consoles and Steam on March 28th.